Hey everybody, this is Scotty with Sketchy's Garage, and today we're working on the budget beater. We're going to make a new set of lower control arms for the car. We're going to do away with this stock stamped steel ones that's got the bushings. I've had these old 4-link bars just kicking around forever. I'm just going to make them work. It's not the ideal thing to do, but it's very affordable and it'll be very effective for us. One thing we're going to have to do is this hole right here is 3/4, and the holes on the car are 1/2 inch, so we're going to have to get some bushings to put in our heim joints. And then we're going to have to put spacers to the outside because the width is going to be different. I believe the width is like 1.5 inches, and this heim joint's only 3/4, so we're going to make sure we put the same spacing on that and center these up. One thing you want to do is make sure both your bottom bars are the same length. They make a tool to do that. I don't have said tool, so what I normally do is just get me 2 bolts and lay them on top of one another, and then I go down here and look at it and make sure it's flat against the table on both sides, and that lets us know that it's good and the same length. If you just happen to have one that was kind of cocked like that, you know that you'd have to adjust your bars until it lays nice and flat. One thing on these heim joints, you just want to make sure you don't run them out too far. I like to run them in and have at least 1 inch thread into here. Some people do more, some people do less, but I'd have at least 1 inch thread in there. Alright, we're going to take these things over to Pops's and get them put on the car. I wanted to add one more thing. Before you put these in, it's real important to make sure on both sides that the heims are adjustable real easy in and out. There's nothing worse than getting your bar up in there and then it have a burr or something in it and have it to where it's real hard to adjust. So I make sure I always get it to where I can run the heim all the way in and all the way out by hand on both sides. It just makes life a lot easier. It's good to put some anti-seize or never seize on them if you want, or some lubricant. Okay everybody, I'm going to show you guys the train wreck we got going on here for rear suspension back here. Like 0 bushings left in our shocks. Some old air shocks that they're high performance, but that was high performance probably 40 years ago. Our control arms, they're just busted and disgusted. So you know every time we're letting off the tranny brake, this thing's just going all over the place. We're going to get the control arms changed first. I like to do the work that's going to make me cuss the most first, and then we'll do the shock second. We had already had adjustable upper control arms on it. When we first got the car, the control arms, the bushings was just completely gone in the front, and I had those. They've been sitting on the ground outside for a year or so. I was like, well, let's put them to use. It's a good idea anytime you're working on this old stuff and you know you're going to be trying to break bolts loose and stuff. Go ahead and spray everything down. I usually try to do it a month ahead of time and then come back a couple days before actually pulling it apart. You look at any old car around here, you'll see everything's been hosed with some kind of lubricant, usually WD, but that Walmart spray works okay too. Guys, when we took it loose, this thing kind of sprung back, and it has it where we can't get this bolt to push through. Sometimes if there's a couple people, you can pry bar it over and then have another person push it. We're just going to hook up a ratchet strap and hopefully we can get it pulled into place. Give it another click or two. Oh, ratchet strap can be a man's best friend a lot of times. Alright guys, we got the first portion of the program done. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but on your heim joints, you want to make sure you got a right hand thread and a left hand thread. That way you can adjust, just loosen up your jam nuts and you'll be able to adjust your pinion angle. Make sure that they're good and clean and free and can spin by hand. I know these look like Fidos, but we could adjust them real easy with no problems at all. We made some spacers to close up the gap in between that. That way that could pull tight. That way this wouldn't be slopping around. Did the same thing for the front. The bars, they look pretty good. They look like they came on the car, so I'm going to count that as a win. We're going to go ahead and try changing these shocks. Alright, we already pre-lubed all these. Make sure, hopefully it'll break loose for us real nice and easy. You just got the one back here or the one up here, and then you got two bolts up in there. Those are like on a J-clip, and a lot of times they break, and that's never fun. If that happens, you usually got to take a torch or something, cut them off. We're going to go ahead and get these off. Y'all might want to back up for this. Alright, we got them bolts burned off. We're going to go ahead and get the bottom loosened up. Got a question for you guys. If you don't break out the torch for the day, did you actually work on anything? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, we're going to upgrade. Not by very much. I could have swore I had some three-way adjustable drag shocks, and I couldn't find them this morning. And then I got to looking. I knew I had some coilover somewhere, and I remembered that I let someone borrow them. So nonetheless, I dug these out of the scrap pile. They're sitting on the rear end. The guy's supposed to come pick up. Figure if he needs them, I'll bust them off there. But we'll stick them on there. At least they got rubbers. Gotta be better than what we had. Okay guys, that took roughly about an hour and 15 minutes to do everything. That's the kind of stuff that I wanted to do, just basically an upgrade a week that you could do in a couple hours, one night after work, you know, nothing too involved. I know most of us are really busy between families and everything else, so I want to kind of keep it light. The investment end's a little bit heavier, but you're a little bit lighter on the sweat equity, so I think it's a pretty fair trade-off. One thing we're going to take a look at right now is the tire. And see the tire patch, kind of see how right there we ain't picking nothing up, then right there we ain't picking nothing up. From here to here, this tire is 10.5 inch tread section, but we only got about 9 3/4 of an inch laying down on the ground. So we definitely need to work with the air pressure. It needs to come down some more. I didn't get too aggressive with it because I don't have no screws in the wheels yet, and I always worry about spinning the bead when you let too much air out of them. I think we was running at 12 pounds. We'll probably get some screws in the wheels and drop it down until this tire patch looks nice and happy. On that, it depends on your wheel and tire combo. Sometimes if you got like a real wide tire and the wheel's not very wide, it could be the opposite way. You might have to put more air in it to get the contact patch up. But 95% of the time it's usually, if you're heavy here, you got too much air in the tire. Alrighty, we're going to set this thing down on the ground, see what it looks like. Alrighty, we got her setting back down on the ground. So, guys, tell me what you think. That going to be the fix we need to get in the 690s, or we just going to go out there and hang out at the 7.0 mark? Let me know in the comments below. We needed to address this front end situation too. Whenever we took the big block out, it raised the front end probably 4 inches. So that'll be the next step. We'll jump on the front end. Okay, I'm gonna go into detail a little bit more about this motor. I haven't really gave out very many specifications on it. We'll start at the top. It's got a Proform 850 double pumper carburetor, and then it's got an MSD distributor, a Holley Stealth, open plane intake. It's just got some cheap knockoff heads with 202 valves. The bottom end is a 509 400 block that's 30 over. It's got heavy 2 eyebrow flat top forged pistons in it, a set of stock rods with rod bolts, and then it's got a scat crank. Basically, it's just a 406. It's got an SFI balancer and a SFI flywheel, and then a water pump, an electric water pump. It's nothing super special. Real cheap to build. They run really great. They're a great entry-level motor, and they're hard to beat. I'll catch you guys later.